Okay, this is just a little highlight series of videos on, I guess, a roadmap of where I think that you want to go through when you're trying to learn how to play acoustic country blues, or actually a lot more than that. This even goes over into folk and country and a lot of different styles of music. So it's not unique to blues by any means. As a matter of fact, you know, playing chords and a lot of fancy fretwork is not necessary to play the blues or to even be very effective with blues. It's more about how you're driving the song with your picking hand, the rhythm and the dynamics and the feeling or emotion or whatever that you're able to put into the music and transmit to the listener. So you know, there are no real hard set rules about blues, but if you know these basic chords, 2 or 3 types of picking, and how to do chord replacement as you're going through these fairly simple songs, and then you understand the chord patterns and just a little bit of theory, not enough to really confuse things, but just enough theory to have sort of a map or be oriented to the guitar. And it becomes a lot more simple than you might think. So the first 2 chords that are an A, which we usually start by holding it this way, but eventually you will, in blues, pretty much will bar across the 2nd fret. Now you can play this chord with a 7 or a long A where your pinky's on that 5th fret of the 1st string. You probably already play this chord, but it's a little bit of a stretch at first, but you're not pressing at all times, so your hand doesn't get to the point where it's cramped if you press and release, sort of like with the hands a pulsing kind of thing. So the hand's not always working or clamped, and that death clamp can really cause you a lot of problems. In the end, you'll actually just be barely and lightly touching the guitar, and the closer you can press to these frets, the better. It's not always perfect, but there are ways to, over time, make playing guitar, even with thick strings, very easy. It's really a lot easier than you might think. But it does take some time, and that's why a lot of people don't play guitar, because it's a little bit frustrating. But once you get through this, you can really start making progress. So we have this A chord. If we bring that chord down a half step to A flat, we lose this bass note. But if we go down even one more, our pinky is on this G note and the nut takes over for us, and we're in a G chord. Now we don't have bass automatically there like the A chord, but just so happens the G note is here and we can fill out a G chord. So as you can see, the G is really the same chord shape as this A. So both of these are 2 different ways of looking at the first chord shape. There's only 3 chord shapes that you need to know to fully utilize the guitar for blues. So we have the G and the A, that's number 1. The second one we can look at is a C, just a regular old C major chord. If you take just the top notes, we'll dig this out similarly, and then if you bring that up a fret, you have to also bring up these 2 outer notes on the 1st and 3rd string up to the 1st fret, and then press this note, and you have what you can tell is the D major shape. Now we don't have a bass note or anything to go with it. If we bring it up one more, we have the D shape in the D position. Suddenly we have a note. If we were to drop D, drop that 6th string down to D, so we get blind Blind Willie McTell type of stuff. We can get Tommy McLennan type of stuff. So we have the C and the D are really the same chord shape. Furthermore, people like Charlie Patton would take the C, bring it up to D, bring it up to E, bring it up to F. If you add this pinky, pour me, pour me, I'm just kind of fuddling through it there, but that's sort of a Charlie Patton way of using that C sliding up. Here's an here he goes again. Here's that C up in F position. So you get sort of that Charlie Patton way of using the C. It's a wonderful tool. The D, move it up 4 frets. You have a nice little accent there, but you can bring this up to E, bring this up to F, G. But when you get it to A, suddenly have this nice big bass. So we've got the C and the D shapes, and so we have 2 shapes here, the G and the A, the C and the D, and then the last one will be the E, which you have this nice big bass note with it. You can abbreviate the E by just holding these 2 notes with the first 2 fingers, and it frees these up. You play any. Play all kinds of songs with that, and you can lay it right into the A and roll back into the E. Just so many good things to use this for. But if you bring it up 1 fret and hold it like this, you have the F. You have nice control because you can thumb over with the bass, and you got these nice little those type of licks. So the E and the F, they each have their own little characteristics, their own little gold mine of cool little licks in each. Now granted, some of those licks will overlap between the two, between all of these, but you will learn over time all the cool things you can do with this E chord, how you can slide it up the neck, all the cool things you can do with this F chord, sliding it up and down the neck, where it can be used. You'll do the same thing with the G and the A. You'll find all these. You'll be able to slide into the A and out of the A, and do all kind of Blind Boy Fuller, Curly Weaver, all kind of songs with the G and the A. And then the C and the D, as we touched on before. I'm just going to let that ring. Phone always rings. I think the auto mechanic probably has the car fixed. So as you can see, this is the first piece, and this is more or less learning the 3 types of chords. Now I want to move on to other stuff in the next video, and we're just going to outline all of the things that I think are the most important for organizing, understanding the guitar in a way that you can collect a mass of information about songs and blues and the guitar without being so overwhelmed with the technical aspect of it. Because it's like anything, if you're looking at a street map and all the north-south streets are odd and all the east-west streets are even, it makes it a lot easier for you to look at the map and tell where you're at. And that's basically what we're doing, is just simplifying this a little bit. See you in the next vid.